What's up, y'all? Sorry about my coat and everything. I am just getting back from Newport Richie from seeing my boo. So let me. It's your boy. You know who I am. Cheers. A little concoction in here. Let's see how this conversation goes. Cause I may. Where's the what? These kids nowadays, these youngins, they be like litty lit. I'm just joking. How y'all doing today? Florida drivers, anybody with a motherfucking peach license plate can't drive worth a damn. I tell you, on my way back home, I got almost into so many fucking ridiculous ass accidents, and I use my horn. So, God, motherfuckers can't drive worth shit. I don't understand y'all asses. Y'all can't drive worth a damn. Hold on, I'm trying to get out my coat here. Y'all see, y'all like what I got on? My little Asian. I don't think there's none on the back. Not on this one. I have another one though. But, hold on one moment, y'all. Okay, my apologies. Had to make sure my hair was fine because I had took off my some this, and I took off something, and I wasn't sure if my hair was looking fine, so I had to make sure I was looking good, looking right, looking tight. But I hope y'all having a good day. Today we are going to talk about, in this, I guess, this episode, and I thought about it. Usually I try to have an episode title for, what am I trying to say? I usually try to figure out what the title of this episode is going to be, right? And I'm going to say this. I think this episode title is going to be called Know Thy Enemy. And I guess you could say the subtitle for this would probably be Know When to Hold 'Em and Know When to Fold 'Em. And the reason why I say that is because it kind of goes hand in hand with beefing in life and arguments and things of that nature. On one hand, I understand do you want to be right or do you want to have peace? And on the other hand, I'm going to get my point across and I don't give a fuck. But it's also how you do it. And the reason why I say know thy enemy is because sometimes it's not just a physical altercation that needs to happen to subdue your opponent or put them in their place. Sometimes it's verbal. Sometimes it's through actions where it may affect them in the long run. You see what I'm saying? A prime example, I'm sure you guys know this story. Eminem, years ago, in the early 2000s, did a record, and he had put it in the song. I can't remember if he specified in the lyrics, but he definitely visually in the music video made fun of MJ, Michael Jackson. And remember when he did I think it was the Pepsi commercial or the Coca-Cola commercial, whichever one, and his hair had caught fire. He had made fun of him in the music video, at least, or in the song. And MJ went ahead and bought Eminem's whole catalog. So anytime Eminem performed, anytime Eminem did a speaking engagement or they played his music, MJ got a check for it. He bought the whole catalog, bought everything of Eminem. And would make sense why we never, at least growing up, I can remember where Eminem never really performed. And then once, I say around the time that Trump ran for his first election and won and stuff like that, he came with some diss tracks and stuff and was releasing some new music and things like that. Makes perfect sense. That right there is MJ knowing I can't fight you physically, and I'm not going to beef with you on social media because I don't do that. The way I go is ownership. And that's the best way for me personally. When I get into this industry or what they call the game, I'm not going to get on social media and go back and forth with y'all. I'm not going to sit over here and beef with other celebrities or beef with people that are in the limelight and think that they have an advantage over me. I'm just going to buy your catalogs. I'm just going to buy your movies that you have residual checks coming from. I'm just going to own the shit that you've been in and take ownership of it and make money off of you. Because you did all the work and this and that. I find that smart. That's just me personally. Another part of me is also like, hell no, I'm going to threaten you. And I'm also a person that's not physical. I can't fight. I'm just gonna tell you that right now. There was a fight that I had in school on a school bus. I remember somebody and it may come about once I get more notoriety for my work. They may come out with this video that I'm sure still maybe on Facebook. People gotta look it up. I didn't know that somebody had filmed, but it was literally me windmilling my keychain at this boy on the school bus because I could not fight and I couldn't. So I'm just gonna be honest in that I can't fight, but what I can do is throw objects at you. I can threaten you. I can, use the weapons and stuff like that. But because I'm also one to mince. I'm not gonna mince words. I'm not gonna sit up here and have a conversation with you. I'm not gonna go tit for tat and back and forth with you. We done said some words. You said what you said. I said what I said. Now we just need to go ahead and duke this out. See what I'm saying? But I'm not gonna mess up my precious hands because these is one of a kind. I'm gonna get objects and let that do the talking for me. You see what I'm saying? That's just how I operate. I'm just being honest. And so, but at the same time, I know who I can be and who I can't be. Like in school, there are kind of a lot of times that I used to get into verbal altercations with guys that were bigger than me. But I knew when not to back down, but knew that I could never get to that point because at that point, even though I would say by the time I was in high school, I'm about the same height as I was now, mentally and how I react to things, I would have never been able to subdue somebody. Now that I am maybe more of an adult, I can, if I could, but my mentality is more of an adult, at that time. And I also, even then, I had a lot to lose, even as I do now. So when I would get into arguments with dudes in high school, I knew when not to take it too far because I knew that, not that they weren't about that action, but they were a little bit more about the action than I was. You see what I'm saying? But they were still punk bitches, just like I was a punk bitch. They were just more or less of a punk bitch than I was. You see what I'm saying? In school, I did more about physical action with females. Not because it was, because I'm a dude and that was a girl. No, it was just I knew that there was only certain females that I would react in that way to. And so I threw food on them in the cafeteria. I did a whole bunch of bullshit, but also at the same time, I had a lot more female friends, or pretty much not even a lot. I had only female friends, or quote unquote. I wouldn't even call them friends. They were more acquaintances in school. Because at my school, in high school, they did this thing where they would all talk shit about each other and then play in each other's face. And I didn't do the whole, we're not going to sit up here and talk shit about you and then be friends with you the next or embarrass you in class and then we're back to being cool again. If I don't like you or if there's something about you that, or we're at odds, we at odds. I don't play that stupid high school bullshit. So that was one thing, I think the reason why I also was the black sheep, and I was proudly the black sheep, and I ostracized myself because I knew I was a different breed than these motherfuckers that grew up here. Because they have a dynamic of they can embarrass you in class, disrespect you, threaten you, talk down about you, and talk shit behind your back, but still want to, hey, can you help me on the class homework, or let's work on a group project and things like that. I wasn't about that. I always did all my projects pretty much by myself. I stayed by myself. I was the only one, I'm sure, at the time that even though I didn't have a car, but I had a job. I was about my business. You see what I'm saying? And I was focused on other shit outside of what the tomfoolery shit that was going on with these motherfuckers. You see what I'm saying? So there's that. One thing that people have to understand and realize is know when to hold it, know when to fold it. Not just in gambling. Take that same mentality from gambling, where that comes from, and apply it to your life. Know when to stop fighting for something, and know when it's worthless or pointless. So a lot of times, even with the chicks at school, it became with like the way that guys operate is we gonna talk. This dude's gonna talk shit. This dude's gonna talk shit. After that, we kind of just let bygones be bygones. Even though we know we both don't like each other, we ain't gotta do shit for each other. We ain't gotta talk to each other with nothing. But chicks will keep shit going. So that's a lot of times the reason why I was always getting into altercations, even if it not physical but verbal. Unless you account me throwing my whole food tray on a bitch, or throwing shit, whatever like that. That's different. I never would hit a female, as I would try not to. But if a chick hit me, I'm gonna hit your ass back. I don't give a fuck. You touch me, I touch you back. Like my mama said, my mama didn't grow up saying, oh, Javier, don't hit females. She said if anybody hits you, you have a right to hit them back. That meant male or female. And we in this new age where females want to be treated just like equally like a man. So guess what, chicks? You put your hands on a man, you get dealt with. Plain and simple. We're not playing this whole gender thing. I don't play that gender thing. And I know this may sound wrong, and I'm all for women advocacy, but I don't hit women. I hit bitches. There's a difference. Just gonna put that out there. You got a problem with what I said? Guess what? A hit dog will holler. If you don't know what that means, ask your mama. But for me personally, I knew when to hold it and knew when to fold it. I actually have been, and believe it or not, I have been into a physical altercation with one guy, and he lived in my apartment complex, and well, I don't know for a fact if he was a football player, but from what I heard, he has told me when we were cool at one point, he's a football player. He wasn't big, he was about my height, just a little more bulkier, like fatter, and in a sense, I wouldn't say muscular, but you see what I'm saying, like, husky-like. He was black, yeah, if that makes any difference. He was a neighbor that lived underneath us, and he kept talking shit. So I ain't gonna lie, we got into it wasn't a full-blown fist fight. I ain't gonna lie, I was a little nervous, because I didn't know how to expect a punch, because I never got hit before. So I ain't gonna lie, when he hit me dead in my fucking face, oh yeah, it woke me up for a second, and I ain't gonna lie, I got teary-eyed, because the shit fucking hurts. For anybody out there to get punched, shit fucking hurts. But it angers you up a little bit. So then, we duked it out, and then he wanted to give up, so then technically even though he got one good hit at me, and then I kind of got I'd say maybe 2.5 hit on him, he decided not to continue to fight, so by default, I won. I didn't win by actually kicking his ass, if that makes sense. But I'll throw up my dukes, live to fight another day. So I took some practice boxing classes, but I never I never really grew up in an environment where I actually had to fight. You see what I'm saying? Which I was blessed to have. But I do know when to hold it and know when to fold it. At that point, I knew that I needed to stand up to this dude, because no, you ain't gonna be talking to me. But if it was some big muscle bound dude, unless I knew Taekwondo or some karate or some Jackie Chan type shit, where I can also have that advantage on top of the street fighting, then yes, I'ma back down, because I know that for a fact you will kick my ass. And I'm just gonna be honest. I ain't ashamed to admit it. And a lot of times, and it's not just about standing in your position and standing your ground. It's also just like knowing when shit is just worthless. Is this worth arguing about with you, going tit for tat? I'm not about to do this with you. It's pointless. Say what the fuck I'm gonna say, and I'm gonna move on. And a lot of times people don't like that, especially bullies. You see what I'm saying? So when it comes to knowing when to hold it, knowing when to fold it, it's not just in also arguments or physical altercations or fighting. It's also in a job that's pointless, or fighting for someone's sobriety when they're not, or fighting for somebody's life when they're not willing to fight for their own life. When someone is constantly leeching off you, whether it's financially, emotionally, or physically, or mentally, friends with benefits type of thing, or friends that you think are your friends but really aren't your friends, and you just need to let loose, let go, let them fly off on their own and see how well they do. That's what I mean by this episode. You know what I'm saying? Even though this episode is really entitled Knowing Your Enemy. But enemies come in all facets. And not all of them are dire straight evil or downright gutterball ugly or demeaning or disrespectful or will talk about you behind your back. Sometimes when I mean the enemy thing, it just means that they're against you or not about what you were at one point. And everybody that goes with you can't come with you. You make it to a certain stature. Some people you gotta let go by the wayside. Sometimes you gotta let, when you pop your, when you dust off your shoulder. What's that song? Get back and dust up your shoulder. Shoulder. I can't lie, that's a good song. I think that's by is it by, oh God, that's by Jay-Z. Yeah, it is. I think that is by Jay-Z. And I say oh God is because he has that sexual allegation charge. So it's like, ugh. But I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised by Jay-Z. I'm not surprised by Jay-Z, Diddy, any of these motherfuckers. But anyways, I was gonna say something. I was about to let something slip out my mouth, but I'm so glad I caught it because let me stop. It's not a funny thing. It's something I was actually probably potentially get me on trouble. I gotta know when to hold it, know when to fold it. See, that's another thing. Know when to hold it, know when to fold it. Sometimes some shit just don't need to be said, but sometimes I think sometimes I speak before I think. So, everything I say on here is not out of malice intent. It's all out of whatever comes out of these lips right here. But anyways, the point I was trying to make though is, you know, you dust shit off your shoulder and then those particles fall. It's like that. You got to do the same thing with your so-called friends, family, whoever that's in your life or in your aura that is can potentially be bad for you. That's what I mean by knowing your enemies, and also knowing when to hold them and knowing when to fold them. Knowing to hold on to somebody or something, and then knowing when to let it go. Knowing when to, like it says, keep your friends closer and your enemies closer. Your enemies closer so you can see what they're doing, see how they're operating and maneuvering around you. Trust but verify. You see what I'm saying? Don't take them at their word. Take them at their actions. Like Judge Lentoli said, and I've said this on other episodes before, I can't remember in particular. Well, she said it in this saying. If a man is saying A and he is doing B, believe B, because B is who he really is. A is what he's trying to get you to believe. The same thing applies to any and everybody. If somebody's saying A, but they doing B, and you see that they doing B, B is who they really are. A is what they're trying to convince you who they are, what they're trying to be, or aligned to be, or conspiring to be. Or maybe they're trying to attribute or to inspire be this A. But right now they B. But if you see they got the potential to turn that B into an A and be A through their words and their actions, hold on. Give them a chance. But don't give them too many fucking chances. You see what I'm saying? For me, I'm not saying everybody that comes into my life is an enemy, but in a sense you kind of are. Because I don't trust you as far as I can throw you. And I can't throw that far. So, look, okay? And plus, I got bad vision anyway, so I can't even see that far anyway. So as far as I can see, is as far as probably I trust you. And it's not, a lot of people then look at it as, well, that's because you're untrustworthy then. Everybody's untrustworthy though, ain't we? We all lie, whether it's a good lie, a bad lie. We all, you know what I'm saying? So everybody's untrustworthy in some form of aspects. Everybody's untrustworthy in some things. But a lot of people are more intentionally untrustworthy in how they move and how they operate. And at times, have I been intentionally untrustworthy? Yeah, hell yeah. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. And still to this day. But the goal is, am I trying to be a better person? And the answer is yes. Am I making steps and strides in doing this and doing that to try to be a better person? Yes. Am I going to take some steps back? Yes. But as long as I'm continuing to try to take steps forward, that is what matters. You know what I'm saying? So know thy enemy at all times. Any way, any shape, any form, any size, any prospects, in every avenue of your life. Because they come in all shapes and sizes. A wolf in sheep's clothing. Not everybody shows up a slithering snake. There's a reason why Samael he's the most beautiful angel. But he's also the devil. You see what I'm saying? And that shows up in many different facets. But at the same time, I have more sympathy and empathy for Samael because he's a fallen angel. Because even though he had tested God and disrespected God, and he tried to act like he had more power than God, and God showed him who he was, he's still a fallen angel, and he still deserves to be forgiven, as all of our enemies do. But doesn't mean that we should demoralize them, demean them, disrespect them, because they're all God's children at the end of the day, if that makes sense. Know your enemy, separate yourself from your enemy, but know they just maybe not meant for you. They're meant for somebody, they're just not meant for you. There's a reason why there's 8+ billion people on this earth. 4 billion people are going to like me. 4 billion people are going to be for me. The other 4 aren't, and that's okay. That could be because of age, race, gender, creed, culture, religion, lifestyle, what they're into, what they're not, all those things. So I'm okay with that. 4 billion people on this earth, at best, I'm sure would make like Javier or Trail Vassar Rutherford. The other 4, I can't stand. Like what that little rascal thing they say. Dear Darla, I hate your stinking guts. You make me vomit. You're the scum between my toes. Love, Alfalfa. Oh, that's a good movie. I love that movie. I ain't seen that movie in a minute. I need to watch that. But yeah, man. This is really what it's all about, y'all. Know your enemy. And know, sometimes you got to play offense. Stop playing defense all the time. Learn how to play offense and linebacker. I don't really know football, but I'm just, I'm giving some of the plays. Learn how to be the quarterback. Learn how to be the team of me, like Martin Lawrence said off of Welcome Home, Roscoe Jenkins. Learn how to be the team of me, but at the same time, allow people to come into your team and add to you. And if they're not benefiting your life and you're not benefiting their life, that is where you need to start parting ways. And sometimes it's amicable, and sometimes it's forceful and downright gutter ball ugly. But it doesn't always have to be. There is such thing as being a good enemy and a bad enemy. And I know you're looking at me. Sorry, y'all know how I do. I know these last couple of videos that I've uploaded, I be noticing the lines and shit, and I get so irritated. I'll be like, come on, I just want to touch my lip, but I can't because it's recording. I'm so mad, so I'm gonna be a little more anal now. But, and what I mean by good enemy, what I mean by is this. It's not that they're fully against you, but they just can't operate in your same space anymore. They're not welcome to. They're not allowed to. They're not moving in the same course as you. Bad enemies are ones that, and the good enemies meaning they kind of still cheer you on, but maybe from, you know what I'm saying? But bad enemies are there that are trying to stop you in your tracks. They're trying to stop your movement by any means necessary. They're there and they're putting active physical obstacles in your way. They're there to add to your life. They're there to add manipulation and conning to your life and danger to your life and ugliness to your life. That is a bad enemy. And what I mean by it is when they have malice intent involved in it. Some people, they come into our life, they add some roadblocks, they add some things that stifle and kind of can stop us. But at the same time, they also don't mean no harm. And they're also apologetic. But then at that point, that means that, we need to revise this. Because even though you say you don't mean it, you're still doing it. I'm not saying you're a bad person, but you're acting badly and you're acting, you're hindering my life. And you're not a bad person, you're just doing bad shit. And I can't have that no more. That's what I mean by good enemy versus bad enemy. You see what I'm saying? It's all in the intent. It's all in the motivation behind the words or the verbiage or the diction or the action, or what is the action, what is the reaction to the action, and what's the action to the reaction, if that makes sense. You see what I'm saying? It's all about knowing your enemy. Know thy enemy at all times, because they come from everywhere. Come from every boulevard, every street, every avenue, every one-way, every freeway, every highway, every speedway, whatever way it is, they come in those ways. Every cul-de-sac, every alley. Pay attention to your surroundings. And also, this is the biggest thing I want y'all to know. What you put out there, that is what you attract. So you can know thy enemies all you want, but what you put out in there into the world, what you put yourself out there to perceive, that's what's going to come back to you. Through people, through actions, through money, through love, through feelings, through health, through mental, through everything. What you put out there, that's what you attract to yourself. In every facet. If you're wondering why this is not happening, or this is happening, or this good, bad, the ugly, whatever it is because of what you've sown into the world. You've sown what you've sown into your garden. If all you've sown into your garden is poisonous, the poisonous fruit, the poisonous tree, the poisonous seed, what do you expect to grow from that? Poisonous apples, poisonous mangoes, fruit, whatever it is that you planted. You can't get mad when an apple tree grows from you planting apple seeds. Why? Why would you get mad at that? You can't put something out there and don't think it's not going to come back on you. Like that saying is that when the chickens come home to roost, and they come home to roost, make all the noise. Like they say, what is it? Karma. Karma's a bitch. What goes around comes around. Whatever it is, like whatever sayings you have, that is true. That is true. You reap what you sow. All those things. All those sayings fall in line to that. But in order to minimize your enemies and minimize those things, and sometimes you are your enemy. Ooh, did I say something there? I think I hit a dog on that one. Because sometimes you be your own enemy. You be your own worst enemy through your self-judgment, through your lack of self-respect, lack of self-dignity and integrity and responsibility and being an active person. Because I just sat on here and talked about everybody else, but let's talk about us now. You have to show up and be about yourself too. You have to show up for yourself every day. And it's not a clock in and clock out type of job. Even in your sleep, show up. You know? And it's very imperative. You can be in a lot of cases, and I've had this for me, because I'm speaking of personal experience. I've been my own worst enemy. I have, even till to this day. It's not a nonstop thing. It's not something that comes and goes. It's always in there for you. There's always self-doubt. There's always self-pity or self-anguish and self-resentment on a lot of shit that I even have to this day that I'm still trying to work and overcome. A lot of turmoil and shit that I'm afraid of to complete and to do. There's a lot of things on my bucket list that I want to do and things that I want to do, and I keep saying when I wake up, okay, I'm gonna do this, and I don't get shit done. But it's only me that I have to blame, and I'm my own worst enemy on a lot of shit, and I'm a work in progress, and it has its growing pains, and if you don't get a grip on it, and I'm actually talking to myself right now on this, Javier, if you don't get a grip, because I'm not gonna share a lot of shit that I'm going through right now, that a lot of people don't know about. But Javier, if you don't get your shit together, a lot of the growing pains is gonna continue to grow into pain, and life will pass you by before you know it. Because I'm already about to be 25, a quarter century old, and there's a lot of shit that I should have already had done that I haven't taken care of my business on. That this year I need to get back into it and not just talk about it, but be about it. Because there's a lot of people that are out there that are like me. We'll talk a good game. We talk a good game, y'all. We talk a good game. But we don't move the chess pieces. We don't play the game. We don't do what we're supposed to do. So I gotta, Javier, kicking the ass. And sometimes that kick in the ass that we're expecting, whether it's actually an actual kick in the ass or something that happens to us that then affects us to make a light go off in our head or whatever to wake us up, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's never gonna happen. You gotta kick yourself in the air. You know that donkey kick where they, like a horse, you get behind a horse and that horse just kicks up a leg and knock your ass and you go flying? That. Sometimes you gotta be that. I just wake up and you gotta turn it on. Even if you don't want to, turn it on. Because, and that's why I said, that's what I said when I said what I said, right? That's why I said when I said that you could be your own enemy or know thy enemy, because it comes in many different forms and facets. Not just physical fighting or through, because at first I got on this podcast and I was talking about actual standing your ground or arguments and fighting and fist fighting stuff, but I'm talking about the mental aspect within it, somebody else or yourself. There's so many, you see how it's so complex? How of knowing thy enemy can be yourself, can be somebody else, can be your mind, can be your heart, can be your health, become your actions, be this, be that, and all these different things can affect you. Well, point at me, but also you. But like they say, we got one finger pointed out, 3 fingers or so pointing back at you. So it all plays its own roles. And guess what? At the end of the day, it's called life, baby. It is called life. Thus, the reason why we have the Analytical Eye Show. Because we got to talk about things that meet the eye daily, y'all. We out here, don't get me wrong, I get it. There's a lot of shit in this world that's going on, but a lot of that shit don't even matter. There's a lot of shit today, in this instance, that is going on with our government, with religion, with people, with this group, this race, this gender. Let's obsolete that for a second. Let's talk about this. You see what I'm saying? I don't want to talk about shit. You know, at first when I started doing this show and it was called the Sunday Sessions, and I was I wasn't trying to be like Wendy Williams, but I kind of was talking about shit in the celebrity world, and I just really, I still wasn't being fulfilled. And I was like, that shit don't count. Fuck all them celebrities. Fuck Hollywood. Fuck all the people in the public. I don't give a fuck. They got problems I don't care about. I want to talk about real problems. I want to talk about real shit. I don't want to talk about who posted shit on Instagram and who's beefing and who's this. I want to talk about shit that's within our soul. What and what I can leave on this earth that means something, that needs to be talked about. And I know y'all may click on this channel or listen and, on your way to work, or, you're watching while you're cleaning and stuff. And that's what I want this show to be about, where you can listen from your house. You can cook, clean, make love to it. You can listen in your car, on the plane, the train, bike ride, exercise, whatever it is. With your family, your friends, your loved ones, not your kids, because a lot of shit we talk about, I talk about on this show, on this podcast. And when I add Anthony and Precaution season 5, which I can't wait because some real shit's gonna be happening then, where it's to ignite and inspire conversations to continue to talk about shit so we can really make some impactful change. And the sad thing is something like this wouldn't get the broadband attention that it should get over somebody that's booty popping and titty this and all the other stuff. But guess what? At the end of the day, this is what really matters. This is my Luther Vandross moment right here, where it's just shit that's just like, this meaningful shit. This shit that needs to be talked about and said. You know what I'm saying? Everything on here, I talk about things that meet the eye daily. Things of the average Joe. And Tom, Dick, and Harry. And yes, every once in a while I may mention something that may be in the public eye from a celebrity or this or that. But it's then to bring it back home and down to here because it affects actually us as common folk. See what I'm saying? So that's where I stand with this show. And that's what I mean by know thy enemy. It's all about self-awareness, self-pride, self-attention. But also looking outward at the people that are around in your crowd or could potentially be entering your crowd and knowing where they are. It's like when I worked at TSA. 99% of those people out there are not terrorists. The 1% is what we're screening for, but we got to screen everybody. And until everybody comes through and then they pass into the secure area, they are a threat to national security. They are a threat to us. They are a threat to the airlines. They are a threat to the aviation. They are a threat to the commerce. They are a threat to the transportation of everybody. And until they come through this checkpoint and they are screened and cleared, even if they had to step back and walk back through, they're not clear until they're done with security screenings. It's the same thing how we have to look at it with people in our lives, with things in our lives, with actions and words and feelings and mentality, whether it's internally, externally, with yourself or with somebody else or with something else. And you can use that. It could be a noun, an adjective, a verb, juxtaposition, whatever it is. You can go to personification, hyperbole, metaphor, symbole, all the shit. You could put all the shit, whatever it is you want it to be, however you want to explain it. Nobody is clear until they are screened and cleared, including yourself. Know thy enemy, y'all. Okay, y'all? I thank y'all for watching this episode of the Analytical Eye Show. We're going to move on. I think I'm going to transition this. I think that once I go into season 5, we'll see. Right now, we're wrapping up season. We're coming at the end of February for Black History Month. And on top of that, we're also I'm about to go into season 3. I think that start of season 3, I'm going to change this from fun facts to dedicating these episodes, because I say fun facts, but it's also honoring people you do know about, but also majority about honoring those you don't know of. So it was a fun fact, but I think I'm going to transition to dedication of. But right now, we're going to stick to calling it a fun fact. So we're going to move into our fun fact for today. Today, we're going to talk about John Singleton. He was an American director, screenwriter, and producer. He's one of my faves. He was born January 6, 1968, and died April 28, 2019. He made his feature debut writing and directing Boys in the Hood, which I know about, that it starred Ice Cube, Cuba Gooding Jr., Morris Chestnut. It had Angela Bassett, Larry Fishburne, Tyra Farrell, Nia Long, Regina King. Like, it has so many people in it. They're just amazing. They're still today that are prospering in their careers and stuff like that. For which he was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Director, becoming at 24 years of age the first African American and youngest nominee in the category, which I thought he got nominated for the writing as well, but I guess that was just directing. But kudos to you for that, John Singleton. And now I'm 24, and look at him. He had his first movie out by the time I'm 24. Look at me, 25, about to be 25. I need to get a move on, hustle. I got some scripts done. I just need to, read. I need to read that script writer's Bible, as they call it, and then go through the whole channel. That's one thing I need to do. So get started on that. But yes, damn, he had 7 kids. I didn't know that. But okay. Singleton went on to write and direct other films like Poetic Justice, which was with Janet Jackson and Tupac. He did Higher Learning, a damn good film. Did Shaft, Baby Boy. He directed a whole bunch of other films and things like that. So John Singleton is just a prominent, top-notch A-lister writer, director, and producer. And he actually, there's one other guy, Spike Lee. Him and Spike Lee, I grew up on their work, and I knew of them, and they're the main reasons. Looking back, the reason why I'm in film to this day is why I write I want to be a writer. I'm not just be a writer, but I am a writer. I am a producer, and I am a director. And I'm going to make films that are going to ignite and enlighten the culture and the world about us. See what I'm saying? So I want to thank you, Mr. John Singleton, for inspiring so many people. So many people. He was also nominated for a Primetime Emmy for Outstanding Directing for the 5th episode of The People vs. O.J. Simpson, American Crime Story. It was called The Race Card. He was also nominated for a Primetime Emmy for Outstanding Documentary with the L.A. Burning, the riots 25 years later in 2017. The first Emmy for O.J., The People vs. O.J. Simpson was in 2016. And then next year he was nominated for the Outstanding Documentary. But he has done so much for the film community and the music community. And again, Mr. John Singleton, we just want to thank you. Thank you so much for everything that you've done for us in the Black community, and rest in peace. And I thank y'all so much for watching this episode of The Analytical Eye Show. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Aubrey Vassal. You can follow the show on Facebook and Instagram at The Analytical Eye Show, and on Twitter at iAnalytical. I thank y'all again so much for watching this episode, and make sure you take out the time to talk about things that meet the eye daily. See you next time. Cheers. The Analytical Eye Show is presented by Analytical Eye Productions, a AAVR company.